let's look into this 3-day learning session on our corporate branding. I'm going to take you through several aspects of branding, and our main aim of these sessions are to get acquainted or understand what corporate branding is all about. And as you know that corporate branding is a part of branding, so it's very important for us to understand the aspects of branding. First of all, what is branding, why branding is important, and types of branding. And here you guys can clearly see in types of branding, you can see like something called a product branding and service branding, retail branding. Okay, the product branding is all about the product which you deal with. The product could be bathing soap, a product could be uh, drink, Coca-Cola, product could be Dabur honey. Okay, these are all product. So Dabur honey is a product branding. Service branding is all about services, whether mobile service or transportation service, whether you know that Zomato is a food service company. It is not selling a product, but they are serving. They are into the delivery service business. Okay. So likewise, there is something called a retail branding. Retail branding is all about you all must have visited malls, okay? And you all must have been D-Mart, Big Bazaar, or Reliance Mart, and a whole lot of things from Shoppers Stop to Pantaloon. All of them are come under retail branding. The branding, what the name, the branding, look and feel, and everything comes under a retail branding. And likewise, culture and geography branding, wherein good amount of tourism advertisement, tourism branding, you know that Rajasthan tourism, Delhi tourism, Kolkata tourism, or South India tourism, especially Kerala, all of them comes under your cultural and geographical branding. And there is something very interesting. You all must have heard something called a personal branding. Even individual personalities do have a brand. Like Amitabh Bachchan has got a brand, and he has got his own set of values and perceptions. So likewise, Sachin Tendulkar has got a brand value, and there are certain products on his name as well. So these big personalities do have their own branding, and as well as a good number of people nowadays, we all have a branding. You know that if you see somebody's Facebook or their social media posts, you start understanding about them. They have a certain personality. You come to know about them. On the second day, like we are going deep into corporate branding, wherein we look at what does corporate branding include, what are those elements corporate branding must have. Again, the corporate branding strategy and design, both are important, you know that. So those things we will do in our second session, not today, maybe in the next week. And that day we'll discuss about importance of a corporate branding, why we need corporate branding. And likewise, the third topic we'll discuss that day is corporate branding architecture. There are method, process, and formulas to follow in a corporate branding. Okay. So in a third session, like whenever this happens next week, where we go further deep into corporate brand manuals and a little bit creation of corporate brand and what should corporate manual should include in the sense that creates inside of a corporate branding we see. Okay. So before I kind of take you through the branding and understanding about the branding, a little bit about myself, like introduction about myself. So I do mentoring, and I strongly believe that good design thinking is a good business. Around that, I do conduct lectures, and I do give a talks, and I'm writing a book, and I do mentor branding agencies. So I born in the center of this beautiful country, and from there I started moving. I went all the way down south to study and once I finished my study, I went all the way to the north in Delhi. I started working in advertising agencies for a good number of years. And I wanted to explore something deep into designing. So I kind of quit advertising, and then I started looking for a designing firm, graphic designer designing firm. So that's how I end up coming to Mumbai and working for a designing company called DMA that time. It's called Design Motive Alia. Design Motive is a London company. Alia is an Indian company. It's a collaboration between Design Motive and Alia. So there I worked for a good number of years. Then I kind of wanted to kind of study further graphic design, and I wanted to deepen my understanding. So I left to UK, London, to study in UAL. There's a very good university in London, which is the world's second ranked designing institution. So where I kind of studied a graphic design, it was a great exposure, good learning while I was there. And you get to learn the European graphic style and a whole lot of basic understanding about graphic design. So after that, I kind of came back to Mumbai. Then I started working for a branding company, wherein there was a good amount of designing as well as a branding. So henceforth, I started developing a brand understanding and a brand creation. So while I was working, I had an opportunity to go and work in New York, where again I worked in New York for some time in a branding company. It's a brand strategy and brand design company for a while. While I was there, I introduced few methods and methodologies and many processes during this time I learned from that organization as well. So it was a quite a eye-opening experience working in an international company and getting exposure is always a good thing because you'll understand like how best practices are practiced across the globe. So then again, I came back in India and started working in again the DMA, the same company, for a few more years. Once again, I thought I wanted to kind of go deep into branding and brand strategy and understanding. So therefore, I thought it is better to study a master's in branding. Once again, I chose UAL to study. These were fantastic instructors who taught branding. One of the reason I went to UL because of these instructor, tutor, and professors who helped me to learn the subject in a deeper manner. So it was a really interesting study and a great understanding and a great exposure. I'm really happy because we learned strategic part of it. This guy is a strategy guy. There is a one really a famous branding company in UK, and he is a strategy head there. So he used to come and teach in our college. And she also a consultant. She's a branding consultant. So we learned a lot of lesson from her. So again, came back from there. I started consulting in a branding company in India called DY. And while doing that, simultaneously, I kind of operate in these three geographies. In India, I do work in a few companies, and as well as in the UK, there are a few clients out there. And one of my friends set up a company in China. He and me, like, we work on a project occasionally. So that is all about myself. Now we jump into today's our subject, which is branding. Uh, as I was explaining you guys that it is important to understand what is branding. I know you guys are already exposed to this subject. You heard, you read a little bit about what is branding. That's fantastic. This is going to add further information regarding of branding, because unless you guys don't understand the what is branding, because corporate branding is a part of a branding. So therefore, understanding branding is a basic to understand a corporate branding. So what is branding? Branding means a lot many things. There are, say for example, branding is a name. Some people say, talk about a font design, the way the name is written, symbol. With some of the brand you recall, they have a certain symbols. If I say Fevicol, certain symbol comes to your mind. If I say Kingfisher, then certain symbol comes to your mind. Then there are taglines, in the sense you all must have know a good number of brands carry a tagline. Okay, then there are a whole lot of a character which distinguish one brand versus other. So for example, it's a bathing soap. Lux is also a bathing soap, but if you see, if you kind of name any other soap, for example, Margot, which is again bathing soap, which is all about neem, a goodness of neem in that soap. Okay, there is a soap called Pearl or Pure's or a Dow soap. Okay, and compared to the Dow and your Lifebuoy and your Lux, they have a different personality. Lux is Sitaronka. It's always talk about a glamour and a beauty. Lifebuoy is always talk about killing germs. Dettol soap is talk about killing germs. It's a medical or good for health, all of that. So let's look at one by one aspect of these elements. Like, as I was earlier saying, let's look at first what is a brand is a name. Okay, yes, of course, brand is a name. The moment I say Amazon, the moment I say Flipkart, these are names of the brand. Okay, and further, if I say there are so many banks are there, like if I say ICICI Bank or HDFC Bank or SBI Bank, these are a name of these brands or these banks, isn't it? So similarly, these both are a painting, wall painting company, but they have two different names. isn't it? Because they are two different brands. So likewise, what is brand? Brand is a font design. Okay, the way Amazon is written and the way Flipkart is written, look at the typography, font, color. This is straight, this is italic, all small case, or there is uppercase and small case. Okay, so there is a font designed, isn't it? So then the next one, if you see, like whether you're looking into the SBI, again, if you see the B is a design, HDFC, they put a box inside that they had written HDFC in a white. That is intentionally designed. Likewise, you can see Narolac or Asian Paint, there is a dry brush stroke here. That is again intentionally designed. And they looked for those fonts which really corresponds to their value, and further they tweaked those fonts. So likewise, if you come to the third aspect, which is symbol, once again, if we recall all these brands, we can see here is a symbol. Here is an icon or a symbol, you can call it, which stands for, whenever you see this symbol, you remember this brand. Same with this also. Or whenever I just say the Amazon, you remember Amazon, you remember the stroke. So you all must have experienced, like when you were desperately looking for ATM, that time your brain constantly looking at the hoardings, signages, where you can see, like if you, where is this kind of symbol, so that if you're able to identify the symbol, then there might be an ATM nearby. Okay, so these symbols definitely help. Okay, there is something called a tagline, what we were discussing earlier. This is again, you can see there are many, like you just Fevicol, if you all remember their tagline, अच्छे से अच्छे ना तोड़ पाए. It's a strong bound, or strong adhesive, or what do you call it, a strong hold when it gets stuck. Okay, so in this case, HDFC has got, we understand your world. So it's kind of a tagline which encompasses what value this company is bringing to their customers. And similarly, Flipkart has got this Har wish hogi puri, in the sense, whatever you wish, you get those products, so that you can enjoy those products and services. So likewise, you pick up good number of brands, every good number of brands, and all of them, most of them have a tagline. Like Nike, we all know, just do it. And McDonald's, we all been McDonald's several times. We must have seen this. I'm loving it. And you can see these headlines, these taglines are very often repeated in their advertisements and their hoarding and their TV ad. Even on their Google ads, you can see more often they're appearing, including their packaging, isn't it? So taglines is also part of the branding exercise. You need to generate taglines. You need to generate, you have to choose a font, or select a font, a color, okay? And here another thing, like any other traits or a character that distinguishes, what is that differentiator? Like for example, there are two products does the same thing. For example, Asian Paint and Narolac. Both are wall paint, and they do, their functional value is same. They are meant for the same purpose. But why some people prefer Asian Paint, some people associate or like Narolac, because the brand value, what they associate with it. Okay. And similarly, if you look at these two brands, like both are selling burger, both are selling French fries and whatnot. But if you look at, there's a distinction between the both. The way the logo appears. This has got M, Burger King is written inside the burger itself. And again, like there is a yellow red. Here also yellow red. This yellow is a little duller compared to this bright yellow. And the way the font, the way the design, layout, that differs from each other, isn't it? You can clearly see, obviously, by reading also you can see McDonald's and a Burger King, but beyond that, design is a clear differentiator in both of these things. So branding, like as a brand designers or a brand thinker or a brand strategist, we need to create these differences from your competitors. What is branding? Okay, again, like we're asking once again the question, what is branding? In this case, the branding is a process that helps create meaning for a specific business, company, product, or service by shaping a brand perception in a targeted consumer mind. For example, if I say shaping a brand perception in a target consumer mind, what does it mean? When I show this brand or I talk about this brand, what imagery comes to your mind? What are those 5, 6 attributes comes to your mind? Okay, so for example, when you see this, you start feeling that, oh, luxury car, high quality or a best quality, it's highly efficient car, engines is really good. It's a German, means German precision. Germans are very good with car. And of course, it's a luxury, so therefore it is expensive as well. Okay, these are the attributes associated with this brand. Okay, shaping the brand perception in a targeted consumer mind. So branding helps you to build these attributes and create this perception among a product or a company. Similarly, one more example. The moment I talk about this brand, you know that what kind of perception or feeling or words comes to your mind when you see Nike. Obviously, this is athletics used to wear this to perform better, and they are innovative. They come up with new products and different whatever called soul or functionality factor, and obviously they stand for healthy and fitness. They have a jogger shoes and athlete shoes and a fitness shoes. So it is meant for the people who are pursuing healthy fitness aspect in their life. So this brand stands for these perceptions. So like that, a brand should stand for set of perception. That is also part of a brand creator. The person who is creating a brand is supposed to be good with narrating or creating these aspects into the brand. So likewise, there is something called, again, like if you ask what is branding, there's a third answer is brand is a process or a method for arriving at a unique selling proposition. There is something called USP, unique selling proposition. A brand must have something uniqueness. So therefore you remember that brand. So if I tell you Maggie, so what comes to your mind is 2 minutes noodle. That uniqueness is all about the quick. You can do it in 2 minutes. That is their Why you remember Maggie? Because of you can cook it very quickly. So they use this 2 minute across their all the brand touch points. Like whenever they make a TV ad, a press ad, a hoarding, they shout about this, isn't it? Similarly, what is a USP of Domino's? Again, 30 minutes or free. That's a huge promise, but they do it. So you go for this brand because of that promise, and they differentiate themselves with other pizza brand because of this distinctive, unique selling point USP. Same with Margot. They are neem soap, so they talk about 1,000 neem leaves kind of a thing. They just trying to talk about the potent or it is rich with neem whatever goodness. Okay, so we all heard many times, like again, like here the USP is the salt. Okay, they just shouted about it. क्या आपकी toothpaste में नमक है? So again, the namak, and nowadays you see that charcoal, and then some of the toothpaste have got some freshener or a transparent or a gel. So those are a USP, the product unique selling point, on which they are harping. They are trying to engage with their prospective consumer. So that's the third version of what is branding. Lastly, traditionally, what is branding has been there for like thousands of years. It's not just a new thing. But that time, branding is all about making marks on animal. So, that like how do you differentiate your animal herd from your other animal herd is just you try to put this mark on your animal so that people know that this animal belongs to you. So this was a traditional thousands of years the branding. This was called a branding also in those days. So branding is not just new, it has been there, but it keeps evolving time to time. Okay, that time need of the day is that differentiating between my cow versus your cow. But today, as a businessman, I want to differentiate my noodle is a different kind of noodle versus the noodle which you are selling in the market. So that whole thing is happening. Why branding is important? So now we know, earlier we know what is branding is all about. Now we kind of look into why do we need branding? Okay, we already kind of started realizing that it's important. Without branding, people don't know who you are, or people don't understand what is your unique selling point and why should I buy you? What are those qualities you have? What do you stand for? Are you a luxury product? Are you athletic product or a sport product or a fitness product? So if it is not branded, it is difficult to understand what this product is stand for. Okay, so why brand is important? So a good brand design manifests the value of a company's perception that to its target audience. Obviously, like for example, every product is launched in a market. There are a set of target audience. You know that, like for example, laptop is targeted to a different kind of audience, and your desktop is targeted a different kind of audience. Like coffee is targeted to the people who love coffee drinking, isn't it? So like that, there is a target audience whom brands try to communicate their values. Okay. So why branding is important? A good branding design manifests the value of a perception with its target audience. Like, how do we pursue value? Okay, for example, if we look at a car as an industry, so we all know there are small cars, sedan, then SUVs, then we have a big car, off-road cars. That is a product category. Then we have brands like Mercedes is a luxury car, BMW, Audi, these are a luxury car, Maruti 800 is a budget car, okay, our Honda Civics is a mid range car. So like some are costly cars, some are not so costly cars, some are known for a luxury, some are known for a tough or off-road. So like that, for example, this is a positioning tool which is called, like, we have one end we have a sport or a sporty, another is a conservative or classic, or this is a rich and classy, another is a practical, which is hardworking. So if I try to brand these companies, where they fall. So for example, a BMW is a sporty car. It has got all the sporty casual look, and it's really a premium car, isn't it? And similarly, if you look at Mercedes, it's a premium car, but it follows a set of a conservative rules, and it is not as sporty as BMW, but it is much more royal, much more conservative in many ways. And similarly, you see Toyota. It is not a fancy or a sporty car, but it is much more regular car, and it is really hardworking, practical car. So therefore, good number of taxis you can see driven by Toyota, and it's a sturdy car. So like that, this zone is all about classy and sporty. The brands and cars comes here, and this is all about practical, hardworking, and not so stylish. And this is a stylish and costly as well as conservative zone. So like that, we map, and then we'll see that which brand falls where. According to that, we create a brand perception. Okay. There is another very interesting aspect. I kind of show you, you all might have seen it, but you start seeing how logically this flow. Okay. So here you can see again the same question, why branding is important. Because the sum of the people perception, see, because people, if I say something to you, for example, if I tell you Coca-Cola, many things comes to your mind. You must have drank Coca-Cola maybe last week, or you might have been some party which is arranged by Coca-Cola. You must have, some of you must have seen the advertisements. Many of you must have heard the Coke Studio, music on Coke Studio. So you have been exposed to this brand in a different manner. Okay. So for example, all of that comes and build the branding. For example, if I say Coca-Cola, there are a 6 part to it. One is that it is physical aspects. Okay, what are those physical aspects? Okay, you can touch and feel the bottle. You can see the container, a freezer where the Coca-Cola is kept, the red color logo. These all Coca-Cola physical aspect. What is the personality? What kind of personality this brand has? This brand is all about happiness, celebration, enjoying, youth. Open happiness is their tagline. It is not like somebody is a sad or somebody is suffering and they're drinking Coca-Cola. No, it's a enjoyment drink. So that is its personality, isn't it? Then you can see here like culture, what culture it belongs. Of course, we know Coca-Cola is not Indian or a Nepali or a Chinese brand. It corresponds to the American, especially Western value. It's all about American brand. So there are a lot of this American culture and value association with this brand. And again, this one here you can see self-image. And if you look at it, there are advertisements and TV ad and a press ad. You can see what kind of people, the youth, young people enjoying this drink. And the fifth one is all about reflection, youthful interact. Again, as a youth and social, it's more and more, it's not sitting alone on a sofa set and drinking, but it's enjoying with your friends and youthful interaction. And this is not a passive, this is a highly active brand. You'll be continuously interacting with the product and the people while you're consuming this product. And lastly, relationship. More than just a drink of bottle, because they do a lot of initiative like Coke Studio. There's nothing to do with selling a product, but they're selling the music. They're not even selling music, but they created a platform for music, which is their brand personality, because they are stand for youthful, enjoying, music is enjoying and youthful. So like you can see that how that brand building a relationship with society, people, and a consumer. So again, Coca-Cola is a product as well as a corporate brand, because with the Coca-Cola, it is a slightly different. It is a product as well as the company name also Coca-Cola. Okay. So this is another project which I kind of did recently, wherein we looked at what are those things. Again, you can see all of that. Okay. Similarly, one more example over here. So I hope you guys have started seeing that brand doesn't mean just one logo. You have to have a brand personality. What is the tagline? What do you stand for? The culture, what culture it belongs to, and self-image, like are you family and caring sort of a thing. A reflection, and it's all about sharing and caring and enjoying, spreading good health. And as well as what kind of relationship this brand has with the society, okay, with its consumer, with the society, on the market where it is selling. So these all are important. Now you can see there is a whole correlation which is taking place, isn't it? Yep. So now there is a lot of understanding. I'm just trying to be a little slow because there is a lot of this information you need to digest. Don't worry of taking note. I will leave this presentation PDF with Madam so she can share with you. Okay. So now we come to the third question what we had. How many types of brandings are there? Okay. So there are good number of good types of brandings are there, like namely product branding and service branding, yeah, and retail branding, cultural and geographical branding, and corporate branding. So our topic is a corporate branding. We are going to see some part of it today, and the next two sessions, when we have next week, we are only talking about corporate branding. Today we are looking at all type of branding, including the branding itself. Okay, so here you can see what is product branding, and we really know what product branding is. You can clearly see that. And once you have a product, obviously you do packaging, then you start doing communication, and then you do advertisements. Then sometime you try to have an exclusive showroom where you want to sell your products, isn't it? That gives a nice thing. Just remember any of the brand which you're recalling where they done this particular. Though product branding is all about, product branding is the activity of branding a specific product. So in this case, Dow. Sometime if you look at Dettol, or nowadays in this COVID time, you all must have seen good number of sanitizing brands are in the market, and they are a product branding. So product branding shapes how the world perceives your product through intentional aesthetic. In the sense, like the moment I say Dow, you remember predominantly white color, then there is a sophisticated soft font is used. It's very international aesthetic look. The moment I say something, for example, if I say Coca-Cola, now what comes to your mind is red color, okay? So there is a whole lot of aesthetic, color, type font, all of that really helps to build the product brand, okay? Furthermore, the goal is to connect the target audience to your product. Why Coca-Cola shows young people in their advertising? Because their target audience is a young youth. Why Dow soap shows a mature audience or women in their TV ad and all their communication? Because their target audience is like mature woman who is working, who is mom, who is corporate employee, she's working in office, and so on and so forth. So you have to build a brand which corresponds to your primary target audience. How many types of brands are there? Again, we already looked at product branding. Now we're going to look at service branding. What is service branding? The Vodafone, they're not selling any product, but they're selling service. They're selling mobile internet service, isn't it? So they're not selling a chocolate, they're not selling salt, they're not selling toothpaste, they're not selling shampoo, but they're selling internet connection, they're selling telephone connection. So that is a service brand. Somebody like who are into airline industry, SpiceJet or whatever, Indigo, these are again like a transportation, but they are also called a service brand, or they're into servicing sector. If you're making a brand for them, that type of branding called a service branding, okay? So you know that again, like you need identity, logo, then a tagline, then here in a service brand it kind of differs what kind of service you are in. In this case, like they need a showroom, you need to conceive what kind of showroom they're supposed to have. And obviously they need advertisements, hoarding. You need to think about that as well. And Google ads and web page ads, that is also you need to think when you are doing service branding. Okay, so now I hope you understood the product branding is all about when you're doing a branding for a chocolate, oil, soap, any kind of product. Okay, service branding is all about you may not be using your product directly, but you're utilizing the service from that company, Zomato for that matter. Okay, Zomato doesn't sell anything, but they're only delivery mechanism. Okay, so they're into service branding. So how many type again like so in service branding, like unlike your product, which is easy to brand because it's a visible and tangible, because your product branding is all about product, so you can see it. But if I say that we'll give a telephone connection or internet Wi-Fi connection, you can't see Wi-Fi. You can see a router, but the when the data is transformed through air, you won't be able to see the data. So it's kind of intangible, and so it's kind of bit tougher compared to the product branding in many ways. So third, we will look at the next type of branding is all about retail branding. I believe most of you been Big Bazaar, and you see again there is a logo that is also designed, and there is a tagline, Naya India Ka Bazaar. So you can see that's a tagline. Then you have branding or hoarding, a display board, whole lot of things are there. When you go inside, you can see a lot of products are displayed. And here, just I want to talk about a little bit about the organizing inside look and feel. See, purposely, Big Bazaar organized itself in a little bit in a hodgepodge or a little in a busy sort of environment they created. This is less of organized compared to this. This is a mall from abroad where you can see everything kept very properly, and products are placed on these aisles or shelves. There is nothing on the ground. But Big Bazaar intentionally did that because we in India habituated buying our product from a grocery shop, nearby grocery shop. So we wanted to create a bit of that in a modern trade. Otherwise, people feel scared of going to these places. Okay, so this is something they find somewhat familiar to what their exposure. Henceforth, they believe or feel comfortable doing their purchases in this area. So that was intentionally designed. This is again part of your retail branding, how you create interior display and branding. Okay, and obviously in a retail branding you have to do advertisements and TV ad to promote a retail brand as well. So when you when you walk into a brick and mortar store, it's a physical look and feel specific to that brand. That is a part of retail branding. Okay, like deliberate design choices like layout, as I was talking about, that busy Big Bazaar interior display. And similarly, like for example, if the one which we saw Dow showroom, which was predominantly white color, neat and clean, and luxury is ambience, because that product is a premium product, so they created a premium look. Okay, so now we jump into understanding what is personal branding. Personal branding is basically famous people kind of have their own personal branding. If I say Steve Jobs, certain thing comes to your mind. These are intentionally done, okay? Like purposely he used to wear particular color shade shoes and jeans and a black turtleneck sweater, and that become his kind of identifier. So he kept wearing a similar kind of dress since 1998 to like almost, you can see, 12 years continuously. So that become his brand signature or personality. Okay, so in one word, if I wanted to say, personal branding is I am a brand, like how you portray yourself as a brand, and whenever people recall you, they remember a few things about you. Okay, how many types of brands are there? Again, like personal branding is all about it can feel sort of strange to think personal branding. It's kind of strange to think of a person as having a brand. After all, we are not a product, we are human. And we have inborn personality, not cultivated brand. So again, you need to do intentionally certain aspect, because people would pursue you as a brand after a certain level. So it's all about depend upon which kind of industry are you, and your presence, how your presence is affecting your business. Okay, and in this types of branding, we are kind of looking at a cultural and geographical branding. Okay, here we all saw this TV ad. I think many of you remember. Again, it's a part of culture and geography branding. Whenever you do tourism advertisements or tourism branding, it's a part of geography or selling that place, Rajasthan or Kerala or Tamil Nadu or whatever, Agra or Taj Mahal. These are tourist ads generally carry that, isn't it? Yeah. And in a cultural and geography branding, you can see mostly you're trying to sell the location, culture, heritage, and bit of artifact and nature and a luxury and all of that. Yeah. So predominantly cultural and geographical branding is somewhat similar. Both are kind of a similar. Both are popular in tourism industry. Mainly culture and geographical branding is extensively used in tourism. And geographic branding is a branding of a city, state, or region. Many a time you all must have Dubai Festival or Dubai tourism or a New York tourism. They're trying to sell the city, a location, or the culture part of it. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes like some of the locations are trying to sell the lifestyle or just a culture of that place, isn't it? So now we kind of come to our last, and which is a core, which is a corporate branding, where we're going to discuss in deeper level to maybe the next class. So how many again, like we are now here in a corporate emphasis, we all know this, huh? Again, it is a software company. They have a logo, a branding. Okay, you can see on their building or interiors, and okay, Again, in their campus, you can see in their whatever exhibition, you can see emphasis. And their Bangalore campus, they have an emphasis on their building. This because they are not selling a product, okay? They are a software company, okay? So you need to make a logo for a company like Tata. You have a Tata logo. Birla, you have a logo. Okay, you have a logo for example, what do you call it? Sony. You have a logo for Apple. So Apple is something like it's a logo for a company as well as product, but Infosys is very exclusively for the corporate company. They hardly, because they don't have any consumer product, so therefore the Infosys does not need to appear on a product. Okay. So similarly, Google, again, it is a corporate brand because they're a huge corporation. Okay. So you can see like they have a logo here, and in their campus, they kind of use the brand image or branding, the colors what they used. Even if you look at this cycle, it has got a blue tire, green tire, and yellow, red. All these 1, 2, 3, 4 colors are kind of distributed on this cycle. That's very interesting, isn't it? So look at their interior. Again, you can see those colors coming, and they made a posters using those colors. And they created this friendly environment, relaxed environment, even though it's a corporate office, but it is not like wearing a tie and sitting in a row. It's much more casual. In some portion of their corporate office, it's a fun, like you kind of play and work sort of environment they created. Again, the colors, what do you see? They are dominantly from their logo colors. And interiors of their corporate office, it's much more a happy environment, relaxed environment. Okay. This is quite interesting. Okay. So corporate branding Google. Google is one such example with a strong and a robust corporate branding internally and externally. See, all these are internal branding. Okay, look at that, the way their interiors are, the kind of concept they follow, the kind of theme they have. These are all to kind of help their employees. There's a lot of internal branding and internal corporate branding thought gone into this creation. Similarly, externally, for consumers who are B2B consumers or who are interacting with them from who are not their employees or shareholders, okay? So Google provide employees with so what kind of facilities these guys, it's again part of your corporate initiative. You can say that corporate designing as well, providing a good amount of facilities like free lunch and on-site medical care and a free shuttle to and from the work, and a generous amount of a paid parental leaves, etc. So Google is one of the most widely recognized brand in the world. We all know that. As a result, to any prospective employee, like if you're willing to join Google, a very idea of working in a Google sounds more like an opportunity than a job. So people are proud working for Google because it's not a job, it is an opportunity to be with such a fantastic company. Working at a Google is a chance to be a part of one of the most dynamic creative corporation globally. It's a global company, so you would get the best of the best practices or methods which are followed. So in a corporate branding, maybe when tomorrow next session we will go deep into, but I'll just try to kind of introduce you what are those things we look at while we're designing corporate branding. Is corporate branding just one more kind of branding, like how we kind of branded a place like Rajasthan, how we branded a soap, Dow, how we branded a service, whether Zomato or Vodafone. So like that, you brand Infosys, a company. You brand Google, a company which provides services or which is a corporate in many ways. So in the series of strategy, obviously, is this to do that you have to do series of strategies and design choices and actions that communicate a key message about the corporate brand, like what is the mission of the brand, the vision of the brand, values of the brand. The corporate branding also often extends to the company's recruiting efforts and culture. Again, like this really, like why do you want to join Infosys and Google, not unknown company? Because these are a big brands, you know them, they have a good culture, and it is a good reputation for you. Unknown corporate, unknown companies, you don't know who they are. It's difficult to believe them, okay? So the next meeting we'll discuss about like how this mission, vision, and value really important to create a corporate branding. So here, if I look at it for just an example, the Google's mission is organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. That's really interesting, very powerful mission what Google is working on. So therefore, like they are organizing this and they're collecting data and making it available, information accessible universally, like you can access Google data from anywhere in the world, and that data is useful, isn't it? Okay. So that's it for today as thing. In the next session, in our second session, we will kind of go deep into corporate branding, and the last session we look at some big corporate branding exercise and examples. You will enjoy them, I believe. Okay, that's it for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed it.